Hello there, beautiful people. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys been doing good. Now, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the world of journalism, but here's what's up. BuzzFeed just laid off 15%, I think, of their employees. Huffingtonpost also had some layoffs. Now, people being laid off is always a concern. In this case, though, we have an exception to that rule. Let me explain. In the wake of the government shutdown, my fellow brethren on the right have been pointing out to this a phrase called non-essential government employees. Free market proponents such as myself claim that that phrase would never apply to an industry or an organization operating in the private sector. Now, I agree that is generally true within the free market. However, there is a segment of people gainfully employed who not only do not add any value to the economy, but siphon out value by obstructing and impeding other value-creating agents. For me, outrage monkeys LARPing as journalists fit this description. And so with this demographic becoming slightly shorter just means a few buckets have been drained from the sea of outrage junkies ready to hit hard individuals and businesses for anything they may have said that is offensive in the realm of social justice. That being said, a lot of y'all on the right are interpreting this as some small victory, a scratch on the surface of the fake news industry, if you will. I will have to disagree with that. I will have to disagree with my half on the political aisle on this one. You see, for a long time, many people presented the claim that dinosaur media pushing an agenda will be made extinct by more accountable alternative media. I hold the same hope, just like many of you guys, but I disagree with that conclusion. Dinosaur or legacy media, or whatever you choose to call it, is not owned by nobodies. These people all have a lot of capital resources at their disposal, and there's no reason why they can't adopt to a changing media structure, especially since they're ideologically and politically allies to the people in charge of the alternative platforms. Platforms like Facebook and Google, in many ways, were competing with legacy media and kicking their butts. The online giants, although known for different content, they all rely on the same source of revenue, which is advertising. And Google and Facebook has been driving legacy media insane, and now they're far more lucrative sources of investment if you're planning on spending money on advertising or marketing. But here's the problem. When have you ever seen a business give another business a lifeline that's competing for the same source of revenue? Well, YouTube just rolled out $25 million to mainstream media to combat fake news. Yeah, that's worrying. Speaking of fake news, over the last few years, at least few years in my observation, people on the internet have caused two major logistical challenges for fake news media. One being, somewhat obvious, that there is now a way to combat fake news narratives. So narratives like Antifa being peaceful, the recent Covington Gate, does not exist outside of progressive echo chambers. But that's one side of the story. I believe the bigger problem that folks online have caused for mainstream media is that stories that they don't want to see any light of day get exposed. And even though they pretend it doesn't exist, curious citizens looking to question the narrative do stumble across them. There's an alternative. Alternative platforms and news media, unfortunately right now, have a very similar objective function. And profits in dollar amounts is a part of that objective function, but controlling the narrative and controlling your thoughts is perhaps just as big, if not a bigger component of that objective function. So with a heavy heart, I have to say, fake news is arming itself to deal with the challenges we have posed for them. And like-minded tech oligarchs have decided to play on the same team. I guess all this is a roundabout way of me injecting some skepticism into what some people are interpreting as a ray of hope. Mainstream media and its legacy outlets are not dying out, they're evolving and joining forces with tech oligarchs. And fake news is just hitting the gym and going on a new diet. They're training harder for the next few punches they're about to throw at us. Let me add to my depressing speculations a really terrible and perhaps worrying example. A writer from Slate recently made a big deal saying that search for abortion-related videos on YouTube can lead to users stumbling upon pro-life content. YouTube claims search results are algorithmically calculated and they don't intervene. Well, 3 days after this triggered screeching banshee screamed at the YouTube overlords, search results for search terms involving abortion got modified and no longer features pro-life content. This Slate writer is representative of dying legacy media. Honestly, it has no influence or reach beyond the social justice cabal in her regressive left-wing circle. But one complaint, and Google, a company with more influence than most governments around the world, bends and twists to satisfy her every need. So my brethren on the right, I hate to rain on your parade, but legacy media, they're not going down anytime soon. They didn't take a hit, they changed their workout schedule, and we have to defend our principles and ideas more vigorously than ever, unless we manage to, make a crack at the tech oligarchy with some alternative platform. But that will need some work. Anyways, you guys, I don't want to, dampen the spirits too much. Just be on your guard, and fake news, it's coming back stronger. Talk to you guys soon.